Yes, indeed. When your soccer ball's flat and your pump don't work, you just use a basketball. It's kind of like that time back in the 90s when Sly and the Family Stallone was having a party at his house, and both Steven Seagal and Jean-Claude Van Damme the Man was there. Steven Seagal had been talking a lot of trash about Jean-Claude, and Van Damme the Man had had enough of it. He confronted him and said, "Let's do it right now." And Seagal, he ran off like a little girl, said he had somewhere else.
No. What are you doing, man?
And you can't just rip yourself off. No, not you again. You're future me, right? From the Time Cop episode? Yes, it's me, future you, from the Time Cop episode.
Yeah, I remember.
Here to tell me about how Corona's going to continue to ruin my life. And we never get to see our Cinema Saviors classic, Avatar 2. But that's not important right now. You're just cloning an earlier episode. Doing your same shtick again that you did before Sudden Death. I mean, you were just doing it with baseball. You're even using Seagal and Van Damme stories again. Okay, so yeah, I'm kind of cloning an earlier episode, and it wasn't in the budget for, a soccer ball. Sort of like the time that a walking petri dish of steroids, alpha genes, and PTSD named Dave Bautista decided to clone a diehard clone, not diehard. He just took Sudden Death, took it out of the hockey arena, and put it in a soccer stadium for final score. So, final score, yeah. This isn't just a Die Hard clone, it's the clone of a Die Hard clone. You might remember, of course, when HawkSchlock covered the Van Damme-ocalypse, which of course meant I covered Sudden Death, starring Van Damme the Man. And that flick is just Die Hard in a hockey arena, so why not take that idea, flop it over into a soccer stadium, because soccer is popular in some countries. Now let's throw in Dave Bautista, one of my favorite wrestler-turned-actors, and he may not have that on-screen charisma and presence that The Rock does, but he is actually very good and he's trying very hard. And here he's playing a walking petri dish of steroids, alpha genes, and PTSD in that soccer stadium. Now we get a pre-movie title torture scene, the type that features the only man in the film to make Bautista look small, Kroger brand Brock Lesnar, Martin Ford. Now depending on what country you're viewing in, it might involve a scene where they stab Dick Tracy's ball collection if you smell what the Hawk is cooking. We're not sure what the point of this torture scene is, just that we know that some bad dudes are searching for someone, and then we have Bautista himself arriving in London via actually a shot of him at the stadium, and they used clever editing with some stock shots of the airport to make him look like he was there. But who cares about that technical crap, because now we got a slow emotional zoom of Bautista taking a shower in a shower that was apparently made for Elijah Wood. I have no idea how Big Dave fit in there. Anyhow, Bautista's literal first words in this movie are a disgusted effing soccer, without the asterisk censoring, by the way. He's referring to hearing it on the radio of his Uber, or whatever London people call Ubers, I'm not sure. Maybe they're called Ubers. So I guess it makes sense that his whole trip to London is centered around taking his angst-ridden quasi-niece to a soccer game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. She's a troubled teen trying to sneak out on her mom, but Big Dave greets her with a headlock, which she uses a headbutt to get out of. He says something about teaching her to use her head, and gee, I wonder if that'll come back around. Action screenwriting 101, but he's greeting her not only with a headlock, but also with 2 tickets to the big game. The filmmakers actually had to print out those tickets 4 different times because they kept getting details wrong that losers like me would notice. Anyhow, basically Bautista's guilt over the girl's dad's death has never healed, and so all he wants to do is buy her a hot dog at the stadium to help Americanize her trauma. But all she wants to do is sneak away and make out with some walking turd named Brandon. Between no hot dogs and that guy, you're making all the mistakes. Bautista scolds her like a 270-pound poet of the gym. Meanwhile, Ray Stevenson, he's armed here with a Eastern European accent. He's taken over the stadium alongside Walmart brand discount Ruby Rose, and she's taken some visual inspiration from that guy who has the misspelled No Regrets tattoo. And speaking of tattoos, we got another henchman with a snowflake tattoo. Now, Bautista obviously pays attention to Twitter in 2020 because that snowflake tattoo kind of sets off his tough guy radar that something's a little off. But there's also about a dozen other henchmen here. And these bad guys, they obviously don't realize that this is Dave Bautista. This is the guy who broke John Cena's neck. Listen, you want to fight him in a kitchen? Go ahead, henchman. What's going to happen? Well, you're going to enjoy some deep-fried fingers. He actually chops off this dude's fingers and they drop in the deep fryer. He loses the knife in it too, but Bautista reaches in. He gets the knife back, only to continue to play this game of pass the hot potato by implanting it in another goon's face. And he decides this goon needs some reconstructive surgery as a chaser, so he pushes his face down into the deep fryer. Reconstructive surgery, by the way, is going to be a continued plot point here. But anyhow, if that kitchen brawl, which is pretty rad, isn't enough for you, check out, there's some extended versions of it on the DVD and Blu-ray. This flick really does mirror sudden death every step of the way. Both flicks have brutal kitchen battles that are definite highlights. Now, why do villains always leave their extra C4 lying around? Now, John McClane, of course, used it to destroy an elevator, and here Bautista uses it for a little kitchen makeover. He's going to redecorate this whole bathroom during a firefight with some henchmen, and if you thought you destroyed your mother-in-law's bathroom after that third bean burrito on Super Bowl Sunday, wait till you see this. Now, the baddies are all after Pierce Brosnan, yes, 90s 007 himself. He too is armed with an Eastern European accent, and he was once Stevenson's radical brother, but he saw the error of his ways. That or he just caught the premiere of Die Another Day and got really embarrassed. Either way, he got some facial work done to hide his identity, and now he spends his retirement at soccer games. It's really no worse than that serial killer who got caught because he enjoyed going on game shows. Funny story though regarding all this, at the beginning of the film there's a credit montage where you see a quote-unquote look-alike Pierce Brosnan. It's 90s 007 before surgery. Now, to find someone to play this role, the filmmakers literally googled Pierce Brosnan look-alike and found a guy who does bar mitzvahs and birthday parties as a not quite look-alike Pierce Brosnan. Pierce at one point does his best to appeal to Bautista's emotions through a story of when his favorite chicken was killed in front of him as a child. Yes, it's as ridiculously awesome as it sounds. The speech appeals to Bautista enough that he replies with his own story from his time in Afghanistan. A mission goes wrong, he loses his whole team, and we learn this is where he loses his best friend, who's the dad of the girl. This is why he's all, I've lost my best friend, I'm not going to lose the daughter. Even if he lost her pretty quickly in the stadium to that douchebag guy, let alone terrorists. Bautista does give a pretty emotional performance in that scene, and it's too bad it's a response to a story about chickens. Anyhow, let's not forget the stadium is laced with copious amounts of C4, and all the action is, of course, coinciding nicely with the soccer game commentary. Now, sudden death has Van Damme playing in a Stanley Cup hockey game. He even throws a roundhouse kick in goalie gear, if you remember. As cool as that is, it does not have Bautista and Walmart brand Ruby Rose and other goons racing motorcycles through the stadium hallways. Bautista grabs a fire extinguisher off a wall as he races by and puts it to good use, going full bone reconstruction surgery on a bad guy's face. And before you know it, they're racing on the rooftop. The grips for the film actually literally created some really cool rigs so they could actually film this stuff for real, by the way. So yeah, they're up there doing it all for real, including when Bautista's character goes full Duke Kaboom, flying off the roof onto a lower section. Full GoPro shots included, a goal is being scored in the background, of course, and holy crap, this is the moment this film gets fully certified by Vince McMahon to be an erectile dysfunction medication for his aging superstars. He just prescribes Blu-rays of the flick for them. Now that C4 I was talking about, it's counting down. Discount Kumail Nanjiani, who's been helping Bautista all along, like he's failing his screen test for Stuber. But he's down there in the crowd trying to get him out of there, and meanwhile 90s 007 himself has been given an ultimatum by his brother. So, you want spoilers? You want spoilers, right? Even if you see it coming from, screenwriting 101 miles away. But Ray Stevenson, he's got a 2020-worthy Zoom call going on the big stadium screen with Bautista's daughter. The clock for the game is ticking right down with that C4 clock. And you basically want to know why this film was made? It's because they knew they were going to be able to blow up part of the West End's Upton Park Stadium. Literally, they blow up part of the stadium. It's going up in all its practical effect glory. Crowds are going nuts. Batista's catching up with Stevenson, who's got Batista's quasi-niece in a headlock. And remember that, use your head bit from the first act? Well, she remembers. I told you that was coming back around. She rocks Stevenson with a massive headbutt, and Bautista sends him to hell with a single perfect headshot as a chaser. And cue the Schlockers. We got awards for Best Die Hard Clone of 2018, Most Enjoyable Use of a Deep Fryer to Eliminate Terrorist Fingers and Faces, Best Motorcycle Chase in a Sports Stadium Hallway and Rooftops, Best Suicide by a Main Character, Best Use of C4 to Redecorate a Bathroom, and Best Worst Monologue about chickens. Yes, about chickens. I really do enjoy this flick. On my Winona Ryder scale of schlock cinema, I'm going to give it a solid 3 Winonas and a smirk. It's a solid old school action film for this current CGI heavy era. It's a solid Die Hard clone, got a little bit of canon in there. It was streaming on Amazon Prime at one point, and of course it's on Blu-ray and DVD, and I just gotta say, just like your family raising you with some chickens, it comes highly recommended.
HawkSchlock.